All right, part two. What to do? First topic of discussion was, of course, about MVP. We kind of covered the trending one as of right now and my prediction till the end of the season. Part two looks like here we're going to be covered with, first of all, the LA Clippers, who are chasing the LA Lakers and the Jazz of getting the first seed, who are a game behind both of them. And with the LA Clippers, but Paul George has had a bounce back season due to his horrendous playoff performance against both the Dallas Mavericks and as well as flaming out against the Denver Nuggets. Paul George has had an excellent season. He's going to continue to be an all-star, and he's been more on the consistent basis. Let's see if this could resemble and follow up within this year's NBA playoffs. Kawhi Leonard has been leading the group very quietly with the LA Clippers. These are one of the teams in the NBA that has been very quiet, stealthy, and not a lot of media press has been on them due to them overwhelming the success of what was the Clippers going to be last season, pretty much crowning them the championship when that wasn't the case whatsoever, losing to the baby Nuggets in the second round. But the LA Clippers are doing the right things as within this season. They are third seed in the West, very close to retaining the first seed. And Ty Lue's done a great job within this team. Even though you did lose Montrezl Harrell going next door to the Lakers, bringing in Serge Ibaka was a great chemistry piece, a veteran locker room piece, and as well as a great stretch five that they could really use on a night-to-night basis by putting Zubac off the bench. Due to that, they are looking for a true floor general, a veteran leader, a championship leader, and let alone a point guard who can run this team, this franchise, alongside with PG and Kawhi Leonard. We've seen one of the names with the Toronto Raptors as they're in a peculiar situation about blowing up their franchise of just rebuilding with Fran VanVleet, OG Anunoby, as well as Pascal Siakam, or they're kind of in that middle bubble tier of keeping it together. Now, the Toronto Raptors do have a losing record in the Eastern Conference, around 11 and 13 record, and due to the East being terrible, fifth seed and downward, they are a fifth seed as of right now. Last week they were around a 12th seed. It's been like that for the first couple of weeks with the Raptors. We were all scratching our head thinking, what the heck happened? And of course, it was due to losing their bigs and their roster, their depth, and as well as two big pieces, Marc Gasol and Serge Ibaka. Now they have Alex Len as their starting center, and actually, my bad, not Alex Len, Aaron Baines as their starting center, and they don't have good depth. So you're relying too much on Fran VanVleet, and Kyle Lowry doesn't have a go-to guy when it comes down to it since he lost more of his depth. And this leads the question, this conversation, this topic of Kyle Lowry trade rumors, let alone the LA Clippers could be potentially a perfect match. So let's jump deeper into here and kind of cover more into this.
Broussard's Clippers could make a blockbuster trade to try to go get Kyle Lowry from the Raptors. This from the Bleacher Report. Quote, the Clippers might have a cleaner path to landing Lowry. I think Toronto would want to send him west, but Masai is going to do a deal that brings back the best package. The Clippers might be able to provide both. Broussard, would trading for Lowry push your Clippers past the Lakers as favorites out west?
It would not for me, but Kyle Lowry would be a perfect fit for the LA Clippers. I mean, bringing him back with Kawhi Leonard and Serge Ibaka, that kind of core three foundation being together is going to resemble much in the locker room and the team chemistry because that 2019 Toronto Raptors were one of the best offensive and defensive teams in NBA history. Now, I'm not going to say they're top 5, top 10, but both offensively, defensively, they gave the Warriors a run for their money. And that was a great championship team in 2019. But Kyle Lowry, he is around, I believe, 35 years of age. He's probably got a few more seasons left in the NBA. And I believe he needs to leave the Raptors. They're never going to win a championship ever again with Kyle Lowry and that core in that group in the meantime. And besides from that, the era's gone with. You need to move alongside with him. So if you can give him 2 to 3 seasons with Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Serge Ibaka, they'll be a top team in the West alongside with the LA Lakers. Now, would they beat the Lakers in the playoff series? I do not expect so. But that would easily go 6 games, most likely 7 against the Lakers.
Well, there are issues here. They don't really have a first-round pick to give up that Toronto would probably want. They got to match the $30 million that Lowry makes in a trade. So you're talking about...
And that is true. They don't have the first-round picks. Again, they traded away 6 first-rounders for Paul George a season and a half ago. So you're not going to get much on draft compensation if you're the Toronto Raptors. They're looking to rebuild. And the Clippers don't have any young cats with young potential that makes any sense. So if anything, you're going to have to give away Patrick Beverley with his $13 million. You're going to have to give away Zubac. You're probably going to have to give away Marcus Morris Sr. and maybe another piece or two when it comes down to it. Terrence Mann and something along those lines. That makes zero sense if you're the Raptors. But this day and age in the NBA, some of these management have been making a decision of having some weird trades. So nothing really surprises me after the James Harden trade to where the Rockets really didn't get anything in return. So nothing really surprises me on these trades anymore. But if you're the Raptors, you can get a lot more for Kyle Lowry. But an ideal fit for Kyle Lowry to go to a contending team would be the LA Clippers.
I give up Lou Williams, who's having a down year, and Patrick Beverley, fine. But they probably have to throw in Ivica Zubac. They're a small team as it is, so you lose some size. But Lowry obviously has chemistry with Serge Ibaka, with Kawhi Leonard. They won the championship together. He could be that playmaker they need. And when playoff P struggles in the playoffs, as he's been wont to do, then you could have Lowry step up. So I don't know.
Oh man, in the 2019 finals, Kyle Lowry, the narrative for him was usually flaming out in the playoffs, being inconsistent with 0-point outings or 8-point game in the playoffs, usually in the first or second round. But Kyle Lowry, when he played in the 2019 finals, man, he performed very well alongside with Kawhi Leonard. I mean, Kyle Lowry was hitting some clutch deep shots from three, very consistent coming in the fourth quarter, and he held it down. He held it down.
I wouldn't go ahead of the Lakers yet, but it could make them better and bring them closer to the Lakers and make that series even greater than it's already going to be.
Kyle Lowry would be the best fit for the LA Clippers to pretty much prepare their team for a championship run, most likely, because you do need a floor general. And when it comes to the playoffs, you're going to rely Kawhi and Paul George too much on ISO basketball. That's not going to get it done with. That's not truly their games. Kawhi's always played in a team system with the Spurs and the Raptors. And Kawhi would play off the bench. Sometimes 3, 4, 5 possessions, he wouldn't even touch the ball. And the Raptors were doing fine. Now with the Clippers, they're going to rely heavily on Kawhi Leonard playing pretty much ISO basketball, mid-range jumpers, shot in the face. That's going to tire him out. He's not going to get good looks. And same thing with Paul George. So basically, you do need a floor general. Reggie Jackson's not going to cut it out. Patrick Beverley is not going to cut it out at a 1. So there's either two options because there's not that many true point guards out there that can do the services for the Clippers. You could look for Terry Rozier, which is a great option with the Charlotte Hornets. They are looking to have LaMelo Ball in the starting lineup with Devontae Graham. And Terry Rozier has good trade value. So if you're the Clippers, you want to go for either Terry Rozier, you either want to go for Kyle Lowry, which is most ideal in the situation, or maybe you go another direction of maybe Alonzo Ball, who's on the trade market with the New Orleans Pelicans. And the Clippers can throw some nice veteran pieces and Zubac over to the Pelicans, which they could really use as well. So basically, those are the three pretty much point guards out there in the market that make the most sense. In order, I would go with Kyle Lowry. At your 2, most likely going to have to be with Terry Rozier. And at your 3, with the third option would have to be Lonzo Ball. But that's just what I'm kind of thinking on top of my head.
Okay, so listen. You haven't heard a lot of Clipper slander from me this year. You know why? Because this year they're really good. Unlike last year when they were just said to be good and never showed it at any point. If they added Kyle Lowry, they might be the best team in basketball. You know what would definitely make them the best team in basketball? If they added LeBron James, and they have the same chance of adding either guy. The hell is this Bleacher Report guy talking about?
Oh my, all right.
The best package? Hey, I can send you Patrick Beverley, Marcus Morris, Terrence Mann, and second-round picks. You know, another team. By the way, the team that actually should trade for Kyle Lowry is the Nets. Kyrie for Kyle Lowry straight up. That would make the Nets better as well, but nobody wants
No. If you're the Nets, you don't do that. No.
Have that conversation. The Clippers have no picks, and they don't have anyone to trade. It's not happening, but it'd be great for them. They should trade for Steph too, Jenna. Steph would definitely help them.
All right, speaking of
See
Steph,
if they can get him.
the latest topic of concern is Curry's playing time. Head coach Steve Kerr said after the loss on Monday, for me, for our organization, we're not throwing Steph out there. for 40 minutes to chase wins. We got another game Tuesday. We want Steph to be playing at a high level for many years. So we're going to try to stay very disciplined and try to keep him at the 34 to 35 minute mark. Then, after their win last night, Kerr, having heard all the comments that everyone said this: "I had heard so much from our fan base the last couple of days, Kevin Wildes included. I figured I should put Curry back in the game to keep them happy." Chris Broussard, what do you make of how Kerr is handling playing time for Steph Curry?
I mean, Kerr understands the San Antonio Spurs way of things with Craig Popovich of not playing these guys overdue. So Tom Thibodeau take notes. But basically, Steve Kerr, he's done the same thing. I mean, Steph Curry pretty much would play, and this was especially like in 2016. Steph Curry would give you 30 minutes a night, 31. He was the leading scorer in the NBA with around 31 points, league MVP. He really didn't play in fourth quarters because they're blowing out teams left and right. Now, this is a different situation. Klay Thompson is out for the season. You don't have DeMarcus Cousins, Kevin Durant, or any of those nice bench pieces anymore. So you have to rely more on Steph Curry. I'm fine with Steph Curry playing around 38 to 40 minutes a night. Is that truly necessary? Maybe not. But if you're the Warriors right now, you're pretty much an 8 seed in the Western Conference, and you're going to fight pretty much to the last week or two of securing the 7th or 8th seed in the Western Conference. It really comes down to the Warriors of, do they want to make the playoffs, or if they're fine getting another lotto pick. It really comes down to them. My situation is, if you want to keep that winning still going on and Steph Curry put a little more pressure on him, Steph Curry has to make the playoffs for the Golden State Warriors, which is very feasible. The Dallas Mavericks are on a downtrend. Same thing with the New Orleans Pelicans. So you have an opportunity as of right now when it comes down to it. Within Steph Curry, again, 34, 35 minutes on an annual basis or game basis. If he bumps up another 5 minutes a game, that's something he's pretty much going to have to go down with. But I don't expect too much with him and Kerr on that. Steph Curry's always been more of just go with the flow of the offense and his coaching staff, and he'll go from there.
I love it. I think he's doing the right thing. Look, Steph is getting to show off and do his thing. Averaging 34 minutes in today's NBA is not abnormal, and they're not winning it this year. He knows it. Steph knows it. Yeah, they want to make the playoffs, but it's about the long game. Get Klay back next year. Get Wiseman more experience, and stay healthy. And next year, make another run at a championship. Don't wear Steph out. He's got several years left, they hope, and that's why they're playing him 34 minutes a night. I totally agree.
Don't wear.
Yeah, if you're the Warriors, before the trade deadline, you need to get Kelly Oubre Jr. out of there. Either for another young wing or let from that, get a draft pick or two. I mean, even though if you're going for the playoffs or not, Kelly Oubre doesn't fit with that team. He never did. They just immediately got him because Klay Thompson was out for the season, but they need to trade away Kelly Oubre Jr. out of there. Wiggins, I would love to trade away, but they'll probably keep him for the rest of the season most likely. But Wiggins needs to get out, if not by the trade deadline, then by next offseason.
Out after the arduous season he had last year of 5 games played. Folks, it's not called chasing wins. It's called trying to make the playoffs, which kind of is the point here. And the Warriors, listen, I don't think they should play him 40 minutes a night. But if he has to this year play 36 minutes a night so they make the playoffs, that's worth it, and Steph can handle it.
Thanks for watching.
All right, we'll end it off there. Kyle Lowry and the Clippers would be an ideal fit. I don't expect the Clippers to have enough trade assets, but knowing the NBA, these teams, and what the NBA commissioner wants to happen, that could be pushed through. Who knows about it? The Raptors, they need to rebuild and blow it up. I've always stated after this season, try to make the playoffs, lose in the first round, and then blow it up. But that's just kind of the momentum the Raptors are going with of the rebuilding stage. Clippers, they need that floor general. Terry Rozier, Lonzo Ball, let alone, or Kyle Lowry ideally. And Steph Curry, you're going to have to play a little more minutes. Try to get the Warriors in the playoffs. That's what your goal is, your initiative. It's got to get it done with. End it on there.